All right, perfect, perfect. Everything seems to be in working order. Hello, welcome, Araxxor. Let's get it. Ah, we are officially dry at Araxxor. Not too bad, only at like 3k. But with the double pet chance due to destroying it every time, uh, we should be seeing it fairly soon. I have 100 kills left on this task, so hopefully we'll get it soon. And then after I get the pet, I think I'm gonna save up a bunch of Slayer points to hopefully get that recolor. Because our recolor for the Rancor Amulet is pretty cool. I think. Oh, god damn it! Not really paying attention to the fight. It's just I've done it for so long. I'm just sort of tired of it. I mean, you do a piece of content for long enough, it starts to become brain dead. It's not as bad as, like, Kraken, though. Kraken was completely AFK. And that one took me quite a long time. Is it gonna be this one? Nope. We'll see. We'll see it soon. 3,065 kills. Don't always hit with the hammer, but I don't think it makes that big of a difference. T-Bow just absolutely rips here. Just position yourself correctly. And it goes pretty quickly. Usually the kills take about a minute and 1 to 2 minutes. So, yeah, pretty good. Not bad. My personal best is like 55 seconds, and that was... Or is it 59? I'm not sure. But under a minute was my best time, and that was just because T-Bow hit 80s like every single time. It's actually so AFK, sometimes I forget to hit the Divine Pot. I'm just... I'll be fighting it, and then the way I know I haven't hit my Divine Pot is you don't one-shot the little spiders on the edges. Oh. This last phase is a bit funky, because he's on 4 ticks, and the T-Bow's on 5 ticks. So it can be a little bit funky that way, but usually it's a pretty clean in phase. Nothing? No, well. we're gonna see the pet soon. I can guarantee it. Not this task, then the next one. Let's just re-hit the Divine Pot, re-hit the Anti-Venom. And walk off the poison. It's really hard to stay motivated to grind this out because when you're destroying it, you're not seeing any loot whatsoever. But just gotta keep telling myself, any of these kills, any kill could be the one where I get the pet. Could it be this one? And if it's this low health, I typically just ignore the little minions. Because, like, yeah, right there. For some reason, I tend to noodle at that very last section. Gotta stand right here because it seems that every time I go for crossbow here, I will get dragged onto an acid pile. That was not the right direction to go. Alright. Come on, show me. Show me the pet. Show it to me. Show me the pet. Nope. One more kill and then we bank. I'll just hit the divine one more time. Hit the hammer. Summon a thrall. And acid walk. And acid walk. 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. And nothing. Alright. Not this trip, maybe the next one. I watched that show, Rogue Heroes, about the SAS. BBC show. It was good. I enjoyed it. Let's see if we get lucky this time. Ooh. Stale baguette. Ah, dang it. Bread roll. Let's see if he's gonna be nice to me this time. And the acid walk. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Easy. Mm. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll take some of the reflected damage. I don't really care that much. Usually end trips with extra supplies anyway. Nothing. We'll see it eventually. Maybe not this trip, but we'll see it. Maybe not this task, but we'll see it. Eventually. And I need to hit the divine because that crab didn't get one shot. A little messy there. I am compelled to get this pet. This is going to be a slow kill due to the fact that I messed around and lost a lot of DPS by not one-shotting the crab. We can hit a 48. We can hit a 33. We can hit a 6. We can hit a 1. Oh my god. That's what I mean. Every time I'm on that last phase, T-Bow just decides to not hit the numbers. Drink our potions, and go ahead and give this guy a right working over. And I kind of want to angle him this way. That way I just keep more of the acid in the same area. And then, do I get dragged onto an acid tile? Nope, we're good. And I'm just going to shoot acid here in a second. Anti-venom's about to run out. And bring the red guy over here. Show it to me. No. We'll see it. We'll see it. It's bound to happen. Hit the hammer. Gotta summon a thrall. Whew. And we got one of the better rotations. Probably the best rotation, to be honest. Easiest to avoid. Least amount of downtime. Let's move ourselves over to this side. And we dodged it. does get a little bit tricky in the final phase if you have too many of these splashes going around, but... Hit the numbers, please. There we go. One more kill and then we'll resupply. Nope. Another time. Yeah. Same thing. Good rotation. Acid splashes all around. One shot. Yep. Let's move over here just so we can keep the acid splashes more or less contained. Thrall's going down soon. Alright. Last kill of the trip. Let's put a little sauce on this one. Do a spin and a bow and... show it to me. Come on. Show me the pet. Now. There's absolutely no loot here, so... I mean, you can get elite clues still. I actually got a piece of... Here, is it going to be on my loot tracker? Chambers Eric. Gargoyle, Dark Beast, Thermi. Where's the clue scroll? Yeah, Master Clue Scroll. I got a piece of Gilded from Elite that they turned into a Master. But that's basically all of the loot that I've gotten. And here's what I got from Araxxor. Absolutely friggin' nothing. And then I did one shot of a snail on the way over there. Oh well. How much am I working with? 14 mil? Yeah. If I need to buy more arrows, then I can. But I think the ones that I have will last me the rest of the task. Anyway, how is everyone? Hopefully having a good day. Drink our anti-venom. Drink our divine. Summon a thrall. And back into it. Let's line them up correctly. I also started to rewatch some of Parasite, the Maximum, or the Max. I always say Parasite the Maximum, but it's Parasite the Maxim. I don't really know what a Maxim is, but that's the title of the show. It's a good anime. I like it. Very like Junji Ito does those like crazy horror mangas, and Parasite is similar in sort of like the body horror way, but it's a lot more less about the horror, more about the action. But I have a horrible phobia of parasites. I remember watching like a natural something on like Discovery Channel. I think the show was called like Monsters Inside or something, and it was like a sort of documentary, sort of shock horror show about like people who had parasites, and it really freaked me out when I was a kid. I was terrified that I'd get like worms in my eyeballs and stuff like that. So yeah, that's probably my biggest phobia. That and fish hooks. I like fishing. It's relaxing. I'm not very good at it. Haven't gone in a while, but I remember the big thing was the barbed hook, right? Fish hooks have a little barb on them to sort of secure the fish once it gets caught. But I remember I was out fishing one time, and what you're supposed to do if you just get poked by it, it's fine, because it's just a little sharp poke, and you have a little, very, very small point on it. The thing that freaked me out is if you got it stuck so hard, so far that the barb was in your skin, ripping it out will do more damage. What you're supposed to do, and this is what really freaked me out, is you're supposed to push it all the way through your skin so that it comes out. That way you can like use a pair of pliers and push the barb down and then pull it out, because that does less damage than just ripping it out and having like a chunk of skin come off with the barb. And so despite the fact that I like fishing, I would always be really nervous when I was like setting up my line, because if I poked myself. Oh, the other thing is I was on a fly fishing trip once, and I was carrying 2 poles, and I think my sister either stopped in front of me as we were hiking out, or bumped into me. I'm not sure. It's not her fault, but just how it happened. I bumped into something, or someone bumped into me, and I dropped the hook, or I dropped the pole, and as the pole was coming down, the hook went into the webbing between my thumb and my index finger. And it was okay, because that one, it was a catch and release trip, so the hooks weren't barbed, but I did get poked by it, and that was not pleasant. So it's not like the worst thing in the world. And I think it's probably good to have a healthy, not fear, but a healthy respect for fish hooks, because If you're not careful, you will get poked. But that was a really fun trip. It was in Yellowstone. And the thing the guy who was taking us fishing told us was like, Yellowstone is one of the most visited. It's one of the most visited. What are they called? National park. Yeah, it's one of the most visited national parks in America. But like 90% of people don't leave the like touristy spots. And it's such a beautiful location. Everyone's there for like the geysers and the hot springs. But there's some really, really beautiful wilderness area. Just out there, just right past like the well-tread paths. There's some really, really nice nature. So I would recommend if anyone is going to a national park, there's all sorts of tour guides, and they know the areas really well, and they can show you like the less visited spots that are still very beautiful. I mean, still definitely go for the geysers, because those are really cool too. But I would recommend going out and seeing the less visited areas. Pet? Nope. A lot of my childhood was going around to a bunch of national parks. That was like, whenever we'd go for a trip somewhere, we'd hop in the car and drive to a national park. My favorite is definitely Yellowstone, but I also really like Arches National Park. And then Zion is also nice. Zion is nice just because it's really nice nature, but it doesn't have like the big appeal of like Yellowstone. You've got the geysers. Arches, you have the arches. Zion is just sort of peaceful and nice, but doesn't really have the drawing power of some other national parks, I think. And it's also, a lot of them are fairly close together. You could probably hit 2 in a single trip. And I remember Zion is something where we would always go see it because, oh, it's there, we can just head to Zion. That'll be nice. But one that we went a little bit later when I was, I think I was a teenager when we went, was Karchner Caverns. And Karchner Caverns is, they're limestone caverns, right? So when you think of a limestone cavern, there's like stalagmites and stalactites. It's because the rain comes down, it dissolves some of the limestone, and then as the rain sort of trickles through the dirt and the stone, it picks up minerals, and then it falls, and it leaves behind minerals, and over a long enough time, you get these very beautiful structures. And it was, I do recommend it if you're in the area. It's a very, very cool place to go. Because it's this huge cave, and there's like multiple parts of the cave. It's probably one of the biggest, at least one of the biggest discovered limestone caverns. And you can see, like, there's like, oh, that used to be a bat, but the bat died and it got covered in limestone. And the guy who's taking us through, the tour guide, was like, yeah, try not to drop anything in here, because if you drop something in here, it's going to be a permanent addition, I guess, to the cave. It gets covered, and since it's a protected site, you can't really take stuff out, because as soon as it gets like a little bit of a layer of like limestone on it, it's considered like part of the cave then, and so you're kind of just out of luck. You gotta leave it. But there's all sorts of structures. There's, you know, your traditional stalagmites and stalactites, but there's also like, you know, if you pour a cup out and it doesn't really have a lip and the water sort of sticks to the side of the cup, when that happens, you get something, I think they called it like cave bacon, where it's these very thin, like, sheets of limestone that do look like bacon, because depending on what kind of minerals were there, depending on the type of minerals, you get different colors, and so it does have the sort of, like, light and dark shades of, like, how bacon looks. And then you also get these very, very thin, like, just tubes, I guess, that's, like, extremely delicate. But yeah, it's a very cool place. And yeah, let me actually find some. Karchner Caverns. Yeah, here. Let me. Yeah, these things. You get these very thin things. All this cave. Let me see if I can't find the cave bacon. This is the big room. This is... Yeah, this is like the main attraction, but they also have Kubla Khan. That's the one that it's like this gigantic... The picture doesn't do it justice, right? Because there's no, like, perspective. Maybe this one. You can see, like, that's probably, like, 30 or 40 feet away. So, like, this sort of gives you a better scale of things. Or, like, here, this is a good one, right? Look how small the people look compared to, like, it's an enormous cave. It's really cool. So if you're ever in the area, definitely give that a look. And then there's stuff like this. See, they're huge structures. It's amazing. And they have a little bit of a light show at the end. Kubla Khan poem. Samuel Taylor's Kubla Khan. It's I think it's named for this poem because this is like describing an underground world, like an underground I like this poem a lot. It's one of my favorites. And the story is interesting too. The story was that the guy who wrote it was smoking opium, and he woke up, or he got the inspiration for the poem, and he started writing it from memory, just from what he remembered about the amazing vision he had of this, like, subterranean world. And it's very evocative imagery of, like, the whole, like, rain coming down and then flowing into this underground river and, like, winding its way through this underground. But he was writing it from memory, and he was about halfway through when a traveling salesman knocked on his door and interrupted him. And then he got up and he went to the door to see, like, what was up. And this traveling salesman totally just took him out of the moment. And when he went to try and finish the poem, he couldn't, because he just couldn't remember the rest of it. So he left the poem unfinished. But for what he had got written down, it's very, very good poem. Trying to think what other national parks I've been to. I went on a trip to. My mom had a work conference in Washington D.C. and she was like, "Hey, do you want to come and just go sightseeing around it?" And I was like, "Yeah, you know, I always had the idea, like, I'd love to travel in Europe, or big one that I think of is, like, North Africa, like Egypt. I'd like to go to Egypt, eventually. But I was like, there's so many places in the US that are very cool in their own right. Like, I want to go to Louisiana for Mardi Gras. I think that's a really cool place. And I was thinking, like, yeah, I could go to somewhere else, but there's so many places to go in the US, and travel is just a lot easier in the US, that I might as well see those before I go to, you know, overseas or somewhere. But yeah, DC was very cool. The one thing I noticed is none of the locals wear colors. Yeah, it might be exaggerating a bit, but when I was there, everyone was either gray or tan or black or, like, white dress shirts. There was nobody in, like, a colorful outfit. For people who were just, like, there. But, you know, I saw the Washington Monument, saw White House, and the National, what is it called? The library, the National Library. Went and saw the Mint, and what else? The Botanical Gardens. Those were, I mean, they're neat, kind of underwhelming. They did have an ant farm, because it was a display about one of the trees. And there's, like, a tree that grows symbiotically with ants. The ants live in the tree and protect it from, like, other plants, and the tree gives them houses, and nectar in return. I thought that was neat, because I'm into ants. I think ants are cool. Ants and bees, and to a lesser extent wasps, but yeah, wasps are cool too. I just think eusocial insects are very interesting. Mostly because of the it's called convergence. Is it convergence? It's like, I'm forgetting the word, but like complex things like an anthill emerging from just a lot of more simple things, right? Because a single ant is fairly simple, but compared to like what a single ant can do versus what a whole colony of ants can do, I think that's cool how like complex things come from just a lot of simple things happening at the same time. There's a channel on YouTube I used to watch a lot. I don't watch it much anymore. Could check on how that's doing, but it's called Ants Canada. And it's this guy who, like, he has a whole bunch of ant colonies, and he sets up really complex, like, terrariums for them. And it's like, I get that people do it. It's more popular to do that with, like, a fish or amphibians or reptiles, because I guess people think those are more interesting pets. But it's the same sort of, like, comfort content of watching some guy put together a terrarium and then having little animals live in it. I think it's very neat. Although ants, wasps, bees, bees are more of a nuisance, and wasps, definitely. Wasps get a bad rap, but wasps are, at least well, solitary wasps are also very cool to me, but as well as solitary bees, but I'm more into the animals that are making hives and nests and that sort of thing. I remember for a project, I made a birdhouse. It was like a big birdhouse that we put on a post in our yard, and unfortunately, no birds moved in, but a nest of bees thought that was a wonderful place to set up shop, so we had a bee house in our backyard, but we had to get rid of it because they were stinging us too much. I was on one of those, what are they called? The like, pallet movers, the little wooden square with wheels on the bottom that you put, like, crates and pallets on. And I was just riding around on that, like, pushing myself. And, I grabbed the side of it, or I grabbed so my hand went, like, under it. Careful now. Got me yapping, almost got myself killed. But I put my hand around it and my thumb went under it. And there was a bee under there and I got stung right in the middle of my thumb. Tebow, please hit. You can hit a 42 if you really try. You can hit a 9 if you really try. There you go. I'm gonna resupply after that because that was a rough one. We also had alligator lizards. Not pet alligator lizards, just wild alligator lizards that our cat would catch. And the cat would do the cat thing and bring us the lizard it caught. And then the lizard would be like injured, and we're like, we can't just leave it outside for it to get eaten by something. So whenever the cat would bring us an alligator lizard, we'd put it in a big tank, and by the end of it, I'm think at one point we had like 7 just wild lizards that we had kept in this big terrarium. Just because the dang cat kept bringing them in. And we're like, at a certain point, we were like, well, we've had them in captivity for a while. I'm not sure they would do very well outside anymore. And so we just kept collecting lizards. Every time the cat would get one, we would just bring it back in. Let's see if we can't get lucky this trip. Some good hits right off the bat. So line them up over this way. And this one. I think I've talked about it before, but I also went to I think it was like either a research place or a museum in, was it New Mexico? It was a dinosaur dig site. And as part of their part of the way they kept funding, they had like a museum, and the museum was cool, but they also offered like a curated dinosaur dig where they would like take you around and show you like some excavated sites. And they would have like this area where you would like pretend to be a paleontologist. It was like an actual site where you could find fossils. But I'm sure if you like look up fossil hunting stuff on YouTube, you can see it. But there's like it was a seabed, right? So most of the fossils you would find would be like fossilized shells and stuff, which is cool in its own right. It's interesting to like see, you know, when you're a kid, you're expecting like an entire skeleton of a T-Rex just laying there on the ground, but it's much more common to just find like what are they called, indicator fossils. Like if you go to a certain site, you might find some cool stuff and some like more unique animals, but for the most part you're gonna be finding the same like 2 or 3 indicator species fossils of that site, because they had like a shell, and the shell is hard to decompose, so that's usually what gets fossilized. Or like if they have teeth, a lot of the time you'll find just the teeth, because if it was like a fish that didn't really have bones, like, what is it called? Cartilaginous fish. The cartilage usually decomposes, and the only thing that's left is, like, the hard teeth. So that's mostly what was there. But it was still very cool to, like, pretend to be a paleontologist for a day. And when I was a kid, that was, like, the coolest thing ever. And I didn't really care that, like, the big, like, didn't find, like, a plesiosaur fossil. It was more like, oh, hey, you found a shell. And they actually let us, keep some of the things we found, because they were like, oh, yeah, we find, like, thousands of those every week, so it's not... You're not, like, halting research by taking 1 of a million of these shells. But, that kind of, like, destroyed my, my world of, like, fossil hunting and stuff like that, because, it made me realize, like, 90% of the, 90% of the, like, full body, like, I'm sure if you've seen it, the, like, in gift shops, there'll be, like, an imprint of a fish on a rock, and it's, like, an entire fish with, like, the fins and everything, and it's, like, yeah, those are, like, 9 out of 10 times probably fake, because the real ones, they're not, like, perfectly preserved on their side with a full silhouette. Most of the time when you find a fossil, it's, like, ugly, or half of it's missing, or it's in a weird angle. It's very, very rare to find, like, a perfectly preserved fossil that's both complete and looks interesting. Most of the time, it's like, what the hell? There's, like, half of a leg of something here. What do we do with that? Finally, that was a long one. Show me the pet. Three minutes, that was a very slow kill. Got me yapping over here. Making me distracted. This is a much cleaner kill. My stepdad, just saying cleaner kill reminded me about fishing. My stepdad, he likes to go fishing as well. But the problem is he ties, he can't get the image of the fish uh, being killed out of his head. So what he'll do if he's like catching to cook a fish, um, he has to catch it, clean it, and then put the meat in like the freezer or the fridge for a few days, so that he can forget that he's the one who killed the fish, and then he'll come back to it and be like, oh hey, I have fish. I might as well cook that. Been streaming for about an hour. Thinking if I don't get a pet soon, might take a quick break, grab something to eat. Actually, you know what? Now is probably a good time to go ahead and do that. Alright. Okay, I will be back fairly soon. I'll be right back. Okay. I am back. Scoreboard. 3,087 kills. Actually want to see. Hold on. Just checking out some high scores. Apparently, I'm in the top 1,000 players of for Thermi, which is kind of disappointing. That it's taken that much time to get the pet. Okay. Come on. And show me the pet. Nope. Oh. Kind of running out of steam for the stream here. Might call it after this trip. Unless we get the pet. It's up to you, Araxxor. You're the thing stopping me from ending stream. If you give me the pet, I will stream probably for a little bit longer and then also quit. Gonna eat some damage from the poison there. Unfortunate. Show it to me. Show it to me! Two, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. We fought long and hard. Your corpse is ready to be destroyed by my hand. You will show me the pet. One more trip, and then I'll probably end stream. Or one more kill, not trip. Big numbers. That's a decently big number. It's also a decently big number. And there you go. Alright, Araxxor. This stream, it relies on you to give me the pet, otherwise, this will happen. Okay, that's the end of stream. Bye.